Welcome to the podcast. Nathan Newberry here, your host. Super pumped for you guys to listen in on the story of Max Tarno. You guys are going to really be able to hear his story and insights around sales, around AI, around how to build business. You guys are going to get some insights on that. Listen till the end of the podcast too, because that's going to be really where we kind of do really a deep dive into some real tactics that you really want. So be able to stay till the end. If you haven't liked and subscribed, make sure to do that to continue to get some amazing content from the podcast and other great valuable content. Before that, we dive into meeting Max and talking about his story. Down below in the show notes, there is a free gift I want to give everybody that's listening in here of how to build an online brand. How do you leverage AI? How do you do ads? How do you build a media team and sales teams? It's a really great resource for you. It's my gift to you. Go check that out. Max, appreciate you being in here. Super pumped to hear your story as well and really kind of dive in. But let's talk about high performance. Like, I asked this question for everybody because I want to get everybody's take on it, because everybody's different. You've built media teams, you've done sales teams. There's a quality of the 1% of high performers of why we're a little bit different. But what have you seen that it has helped you achieve that high performance edge that you're at right now? What have you seen with the teams and things that you've seen in this industry?
It's a good question. I would say on a meta level, specifically when we're hiring people and we want to make sure that we either find A players straight out the box or we find diamonds in the rough. And there's kind of like three things that we're looking for. Number one is volume. Can that person put in a lot of volume? Whether you're hiring sales staff or media buyers or just for yourself, you got to be able to grind and put in a lot of volume just to get better, just to have mastery over something. So what I often look for, specifically with people that I hire, is like, do they have any sort of history of grinding? I'll give you a good example. One of our sales reps plays semi-professional basketball. He's been doing this for like 9 years or something. So that person understands the value of working on something to achieve mastery over a long, prolonged period of time. Because guys like you and I, Nathan, for us it's clear, like, of course, but most people out there, they do not have the patience to really reach mastery over something. That's why they jump between business models. That's why they jump between different opportunities every 6 to 12 months. So volume is a big one. Another great example is one of our head coaches used to be a professional gamer. I can't remember if it was League of Legends or Dota or something. And again, like, they did that for 10 years. And it's a very grindy thing. Like, you're not going to play at that level. You're not going to play the video game because it's fun. You're just going to play because you want to get better at it. That's the first one. The second thing is, can that person take feedback? You'll be surprised how many people listen to feedback or they learn something new. And on the surface level, they understand it, but they don't implement it. And that's kind of the same thing that I make sure with my personal high performance. I'm like, when was the last time I changed my mind about something? Right? When was the last time I was presented with proof to the contrary of what I believed so far, and how fast did I change lanes? So when I thought, hey, when I say this in a closing call, or if I manage my team like this, I thought that was the right way. And then I'm presented with, actually, there's an even better way, or your way is even completely wrong. I got to be able to implement that feedback, logically understand it on one level, but then the other level also just swallow my pride and adapt. And then the third one is soft skills. That's specifically key for sales reps. Are they charismatic? Can they build rapport? Can they read when the other person is uncomfortable, when they're being pushed too hard, or when they are not being pushed hard enough? And that's equally as important for closing roles, as well as if you're in a management position yourself, as well as if you're creating content. Because content creation is basically just talking to a human being, but on scale, right? You're talking to like 1,000 people that watch your reel, or 2,000 people that watch your podcast. So you got to be able to do that. And I think these three things combined create a pretty good breeding ground for high performance on a macro level. And then on a micro level, get enough sleep, exercise enough, eat clean, stay away from alcohol, nicotine. I would argue even caffeine. I don't drink coffee. I drink coffee only to cycle it in extremely difficult times where I need to grind a lot. I use it as a boost, but I don't rely on it. So respect your body, respect your mind, so to speak. Healthy body, healthy mind. those are going to be also on a micro level important for you to maintain a very high level of performance.
Love that, man. I love that. You went in depth, and I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Now,
Sorry.
talk to the no, it's so good because I know sometimes it's like, "Hey, just be consistent," is what I get often, the answer, but it's like, I get that, but I love your answers. It's really complex, and it's so true, so true. Talk to the audience a little bit so the audience has a little more context, even more about, like, what you're known for, how you're serving people even now at the high level you are now.
Yeah, I love it. My very first business that I started that made me a millionaire at 26 was actually dating and personal development advice. So I was a coach, traveling the world, giving seminars. I went on 4 world tours in my 20s. Made my first million at age 26. Started making 3 to 5 million a year with that first business. In 2019, 18 or 19, I got more and more people into my dating courses asking me business questions. Like literally, people are like, I just bought this dating course to ask you how you built a business. And then I thought, hey, I'm onto something here. And it was, to be honest, also something that I was more and more interested in. So ever since then, I've been doing business consulting, which is my second multiple seven-figure business that I've built. I got a ton of awards from that, including this one here for 10 million cash collected on a single funnel on ClickFunnels. And we've been doing that since, like I said, either 2018 or 19. I forgot the year. And then, obviously since 2024, got more and more into AI. That's, similar to you. You realize like, damn, this AI thing is not going to go anywhere. It's going to get better and better. And what we do now specifically is we help people get rich with the power of AI. We have two type of people that usually come to us. These are the complete beginners. These are people that, they have full-time obligations, family jobs, and they say, hey, Max, how do I make money with the power of AI? And we help them literally build a brand from scratch with AI short form videos, have the AI do everything for them, and then monetize it. And then the other end, the other side of people come to us, they already have a business, they're already crushing it. And they're like, hey, I want to scale and automate. How can you guys help me? And then, of course, we implement AI stuff there as well.
Very cool, very cool. Talk to us a little bit more at the origin story. You and I are cut from a different cloth. Most people are followers, but from the very beginning, like, talk to us about when you knew you were a little bit different and you're wired a little bit different. Was this like you selling, cookies or chocolate bars, or you, what was the origin story of this?
Yeah.
Was your parents entrepreneurs? Like, where did this desire for growth come from?
It's funny, man, because I never had that entrepreneurial DNA. I never had the lemonade stand or anything. In fact, fun fact, I had made, I think, my first 600K in total. And I'm like, what's the difference between revenue and profits? Like, I had to look that up. I had age 26. So I knew nothing about business. And I kind of just like got into that almost by accident. But what I did know, which was kind of like one of the things that made me realize I think I'm different, is I was doing summer jobs as a teenager. That was like my first experience within the workforce. And then later on, I was in the Austrian army. As an Austrian, you have to be in the army for 6 months mandatory as an 18-year-old. And I'm like, this sucks. Like, you get up early in the morning, like you do shit that is super uninteresting. You're not growing, you're not pushing, and you're getting paid really bad money. What the hell? That's work? Like, people do this for the rest of their lives? Are they crazy? What, like, how could you do this for longer than 2 months over summer? I couldn't, let alone the whole life. So I realized relatively early on in my teenage years that there's this Steve Jobs quote of like, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life again. So I got more and more obsessed with the idea of like, love what I do and get paid for it. Love what I do and get paid for it. How can I do that? How can I make money on the internet so I can travel the world? And how can I make that be fulfilling and really exciting for me? And, you
Mhm.
know, for me, that was my first business, the dating coaching, because I was super shy, super awkward. I was never the popular kid at school. And the fact that I could learn how to be more charismatic, learn how to be funnier, learn how to talk to girls changed my life. And that excited me so much. And I'm like, I want to just sing that out into the world and help all the other guys that are in a similar situation. Like, hey guys, I found a solution here. Like, this is really awesome. And I got really excited about that. And I would write about it back then on forums because there was no video content. You could barely shoot videos. That was back in 2013, 2012 ish. YouTube was a very new thing back then. So I just wanted to help people with this, and that got me so excited. And then at some point, people started asking me if I do coaching, and I'm like, yes, I do, which wasn't even true, right? I just like, yeah, of course I do coaching. And then people started paying me for that, and that's where I slowly started to live that Steve Jobs quote of like, I kind of do what I love. I love giving out these pieces of advice that help me a lot. I don't even getting paid for that. Holy shit, like this is it, this is real. And then I used to do more and more online aspects of that. I was on 4 world tours at first, which was all offline, but I added more and more online aspects to it. And I'm like, okay, I would wake up in the morning, I would make 2,000, 3,000 while I was sleeping. People would buy my course, and I'm like, this is pretty awesome. And that's how I just like realized this is a very, very cool thing. And I'm grateful that I got obsessed with that thought of like figuring out on how to do something nice that is fun that also makes me money, you know?
Yeah. To talk about the difference now with building a personal brand, right? And then also running ads and how that's been able to compound what you're doing. Cause I think there's a lot of people that, are saying, hey, just build a personal brand. That's it. But then there's a lot of leverage that comes with doing ads, right? Like talk about when you, at the very beginning of when you realize that, of like the importance of it. Cause some people even say, hey, I have no personal brand to you. I just run ads.
Mhm.
And then it's like there's two components there that's really that compounds, that builds that trust and awareness even more. Talk about when you found that out and how that's been able to help you leverage it.
Man, I'm so happy you bring that up because there's always two camps. There's the organic people that are like, "You're stupid if you spend money on ads. I do everything organic, profit margins, blah blah blah." And then there's the more like old school diehard paid advertising of like, "You don't want to fucking create content all the time. That's stupid. Just spend money on ads. Make sure you got good ROAS." But
Right.
just like you, like, and I love the fact that you're a proponent of both because I truly wholeheartedly feel exactly the same. And funny enough, Nathan, I don't meet a lot of people that actually do both. I meet, again, like I meet the organic folks and I meet the ads folks. Very rarely I meet someone that does both. And guess what? Everybody that does both and has mastered both is crushing it. Like the best of the best in their fields always do both organic and paid advertising. And again, like just to answer your question, my very first business dating advice was 99% organic, which means I got recognized everywhere I went. I had a huge brand. I had huge profit margins. But at the same time, I was at the mercy of the algorithm. So,
Mm-hmm.
meaning I would have a month where some of my videos would go viral, and I would literally physically need to hire more staff to handle all the leads so we make more money. The month after that, the algorithm just didn't go as viral. My videos wouldn't perform as well. So now half of my staff would just sit around rolling thumbs, and I had to let go of them. So there was this constant back and forth. And then what you do is like you start tending the algorithm because you're like, I need to go viral because that makes me more money. So instead of making the content that you really want, now you're just constantly trying to go viral, trying to force it, trying to make all these like super broad, um, what would you call it? Like super broad fluff content just to appeal the masses. And then what I did with the second business is we started with organic, and then I made the specific decision saying I want to crack cold traffic, which a lot of organic folks don't do because organic is awesome. You make a lot of money, you have high profit margins. Who all of a sudden you want to spend money on leads? Why would you do that? And your team is usually not used to it. They're used to closing fanboys, not cold people that don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it took me 2 to 3 years to figure that out. And it was very, very, very tough. But once I did, I'm like, this is really awesome because you need more leads, you dial up the ad spend. Oh, your sales team gets overwhelmed or some of your staff left and you can't handle as much leads, you dial down the ad spend. And so there's a lot of value to be had if you do paid advertising. But like I said, what we're doing now, the version of my business that we're doing now since 2023-ish is we're running a ton of ads. But on top of that, we have great organic content. We have the podcast. We do a lot of short form content from the podcast. I do long form videos on YouTube. I do short form videos. I post on LinkedIn. And again, like I use my AI stuff to do most of the work for me anyways. I can create much more content now than ever before. And what happens is just like you said, you run ads, complete strangers who don't know you see your ad, they're skeptical, which of course they should be. Who the fuck is this Max Tornow guy? I don't know. Oh, here he pops up with a free video. Well, let me watch it. oh, here's a podcast. Well, let me watch that. And 2 weeks later or 2 months later, they've consumed hours of content. And they might have not, a lot of people convert right away from the ads, but they might have not converted, but they will convert eventually. So if you're able to crack cold traffic, meaning you profitably spend money on advertising and make, 2x, 3x, 10x back, and on top of that, you're blessed with organic, you're gonna be unfucking stoppable. Sorry to swearing here. I don't know if you guys need to cut that out, but you're gonna be unstoppable, and that's what every business owner should thrive for, to be honest.
Talk about some of the challenges that you've had to deal with as like there's different levels of complexity of businesses, right? And so I try to chunk it down, and every business is a little bit different. Uh, but I feel like it's like 0 to 30K, then there's ceilings, then 30K to 100K, and then 100K plus, right?
Mm.
And there's limitations and team size and complexities is kind of where I've seen it chunk down. Where have you seen some of the things that at the very beginning, or even have you when you've been scaling, some of the challenges of things that you've had to risk to make it work, or those like dark nights of the souls where you're waking up in cold sweats and you're dealing with some pretty heavy stuff while you're trying to scale and grow? Talk about some of those things.
Yeah, man. I think from 0 to 10K, it's just volume. It's like volume, 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 volume. Like you're gonna have to do cold outreach or run ads. Like it's not like it's not you're not gonna start making 10K a month with like an hour a day of work. Rarely. I've seen that too, but usually it's just like you have to just grind. You just have to get volume in. Then from 10K to 30K, I would almost say from 10K to 50K, it's a lot about systemization because you're going to repeat what works. And in order to repeat what works, you need to find the patterns and you need to systemize it. Back in mine, in your days, we'd have to do a lot manually and with VAs. Nowadays, it's just getting easier by the day. You can have AI. You can have AI agents that just like automate things for you. It's incredible. We have one of our little mini projects that we're doing that sends a type form. People fill out a type form to ChatGPT prompt. The ChatGPT prompt gets into a Canva design. Canva design gets exported as a PDF. The PDF gets accompanied with a personalized Be Human video that is a video of me like personalizing the video to the person's name. And like that used to be all manual work,
Yeah.
right? It used to be a VA who would have to write it, put it into the design, and now it's all just like done with AI agents. So I would say from 10K to 50K, it's all about thinking in systems, implementing systems. And then 50K upwards to around, I would say 50K to 200 to 300K a month is all just humans. It's people skills, people skills, people skills. Because you're going to need to hire a closer. You're going to need to hire maybe a setter. You're going to need to hire someone that helps you with fulfillment. You're going to need to hire people with management and so on and so forth. So a lot of the entrepreneurs at that level, they're like, they're not even used to managing people. They're most of the time too soft because our generation grew up with the idea of like the boss being an asshole. So we all want to be the cool boss. So we're like, oh, you want to have 4 weeks off? Sure, bro, no problem, right? And then nobody respects you. Everybody's just taking advantage of you. So you're really gonna have to learn how to deal with people, how to hire people, how to find good people, how to how to or almost instead of how to find good people, it's more like how to stay away from bad people, how to find out who's bad, how to incentivize people, and also how to be okay with large chunks of your money being paid in payroll. I see this over and over again. People are like, I'm making 150K and 50K I'm giving away per month in payroll. Like, that's a lot of money. Like, do I need this? Most of the time, yes, you do. So you kind of have to be okay with paying larger and larger sums in payroll. And the other thing is also you have to be okay with giving away tasks. Um, you probably know this too, Nathan. It's like when you build a business and at first it's only you, this business is your baby. And all of a sudden, you want to give away this task that you used to do perfectly to this other person. And you see that other person DMing your prospect slightly differently. They're saying things that you would never write. You're like, no, don't use that emoji. I would never do that. Right. And you try
Sure.
to control everything and micromanage, but you kind of have to like learn to give that baby away and just trust the process, trust your internal training systems. I hope you have them, and then trust also the employees that you hired. So it's a lot of letting go at that level. And then I would say from 250K onwards, all the way up to a million a month. I cannot say beyond a million a month because we haven't been there yet, but like 250K to a million a month. It's just such big picture thinking. Your payroll is huge at that point. You're literally giving away like hundreds of thousands in usual recurring monthly costs. Your ad spend's going to be crazy. You know, you're going to be dealing with like $10,000 to $20,000 a day in ad spend. Everything is crazier. You have to maintain cool. It's a lot about maintaining cool. Um, and to be honest, too, is like hire really good people. I think if you want to get to 1 million a month, you really want to be able to hire really good people, and you want to be able to pay them a lot, and you want to be able to just let them cook. Those are like the biggest lessons at each level, I would say.
What have you found of the season you do hire A players? Because I think there's always a question mark of like, do you hire them out the gate and then you take less, or you hire people, you build them, but then you also get some equity while you're building them? Like, how do you go about the way that you've been able to do that?
Well, it's difficult because in the beginning, when you would really need the A players, a lot of A players won't work with you because other companies pay more. Like if you're an A player, you want to work with a company that's usually already established. There's A players themselves already a relatively small subset of a total of the pool of people out there. But then out of the small subset of A players, the subset of A players that are willing to eat shit for months or even years in order to grow with the company is even smaller.
Mm,
So, and then once you are big and you don't necessarily need the A players more, it's much easier for you to hire the A players in the first place. So
mm,
it's a little bit of a numbers game at first to get those A players in. But I always see it like this. I always compare the hiring market almost like the dating market out there. Like, what things do you have going for you, right? So me back in the days when I would used to do dating coaching, I would also think about like my value on the dating market. And I can't change my height, for example, right? I'm 5'7", I'm 172 centimeters tall. So I cannot change that. Just like you cannot change in the beginning when you're at 50 or 100K a month, you cannot change the fact that you're not making 1 million a month yet. What you do have power over, though, is you go to the gym, you become charismatic, you become funny, you have a great lifestyle, and all of a sudden you can compensate for your lack of height, and you're more attractive on the dating market. Firstly, in the job market, you can basically, for example, say, hey, the company's small right now, but we're going above and beyond for our clients, right? We don't have the problem of having too many clients, which means our delivery is really on point. Number two, training. A lot of my clients actually use me or my company as a way to be more attractive on the market in order to say, hey, you want to be a closer for us? Well, we're not making 200K a month yet, but you'll be trained directly by our mentors, which is Max Tarno's team. So that's again another little point that you can add on top of that to attract A players. Company culture. You can have a shit company culture as a huge company, but you can have an amazing company culture as a small company. We were actually able to hire closers away from offers that paid them more because our company culture was daily meetings, daily feedback, daily projections. Everything is numbers. There's no like everything is structured. I'm German and also half German, half Austrian, so a lot of people are surprised by the fact that we have such beautiful structures, clear KPIs, epic training, epic access to our own mentors that are making it multiple 8 figures a year. So company culture is another thing that you can do. And yeah, pay them as much as you can. And but of course, again, there's a ceiling. And then as soon as you can pay people more, pay them freaking more. And don't be worried. I have a friend of mine. He has very, very, very large ticket prices, and he had a CMO that used to run his ads, and he would pay his CMO also a percentage. And then, as he's making more and more money, he's like realizing my CMO gets paid 250K a month. That's too much money. I'm not going to pay a guy to run my ads 250K because of that deal. So he got rid of the CMO. He was doing well for 2, 3 months, and then his business tanked. So keep paying people more, incentivize them, and understand that, yeah, you're giving them bigger pieces, but ultimately the rest of the pie also grows with that. And I'd rather pay good people a lot of money, and maybe my profit margins, EBITDA at the end, are 20% or 15, but I'd rather have 15% of 2 million profit or 1 million profit than 50% of only 200K profit, right? So your piece relative to the total becomes smaller, but in total, your piece just becomes bigger.
I want to get your thoughts on volume. You briefly talked about this, like, but there's the volume game and then there's the quality game, right? I feel like you can have both, but people have like some disparity of like you can only have this, but you can only do this amount of like. Talk about what you think about volume versus quality.
Like, yeah, it's super good that you said it. A lot of people say, like, Max, what's more important, quantity or quality? And I'm like, what's more important is the quantity of quality. Like, how many good pieces of content can you put out? It's unfortunately just like that. Now, I would almost say in the beginning, you probably can't do high quality much. So you're going to just have to do pure quantity. But that quantity will help you get more information, more feedback on what works and what doesn't. And then slowly the quality will come back. And then once you have quality, just make sure you post as much humanly possible of that high quality stuff.
And then I think there's an importance of being omnipresent. Like, and I definitely saw the report that came in from Google, the 7-11-4, rule, where it talked about people need to consume around 7 hours of free content at 11 different touch points or impressions, and then 4 different platforms. I think that there's key platforms that we like that we probably use more. But talk about how you've seen like the omnipresence and that adding value to either prospects or the growth of your company.
Yeah, I mean, it. I love the fact that you bring out that point because Gary Vee, the OG of content creation, always says like try to like make sure your content is where people's eyeballs are already. And the average person isn't just on Instagram these days. They aren't just on LinkedIn. They're everywhere. And one of the lessons I learned relatively early on with my first business too was like I want my ideal client to open Facebook and see my face. Then I want that guy to go on YouTube and see my face. Then I want that guy to browse through podcasts and listen to my podcast. You want to be everywhere. Back in my days, 2016, 17, 18, when I first started really blowing up, that was hard to do because you had to make the Instagram post and you had to make the LinkedIn post. You had to do all this natively. Nowadays, you can be very smart about it with AI systems like we're doing right now. You do a podcast, you sing together with someone for an hour or two. Now you have a long form piece of content that goes as a video up on YouTube. It goes up as audio on Spotify and iTunes. I send this to my visuals editing team, and they have instructions to make 5 to 10 value nuggets, as we call them, meaning short form video pieces from that podcast episode for Instagram Reels, for TikTok. Snapchat, by the way, is coming back. I'm going to post on Snapchat too.
Ooh, interesting. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a look at that.
As well as YouTube Shorts. Now, some of these shorts can also be posted on LinkedIn because LinkedIn now has video as well as on Facebook. But also, what you can do is you take that same thematic, you upload it into an AI, and you say, make me a LinkedIn post of that is written, right? So now you're posting on all these different platforms, but practically, I'm only sitting down once myself to do a podcast. All the rest is done either by team or AI or a team leveraging AI. And
Yeah.
therefore, I can reach that omnipresence without any extra time of mine. But most importantly, my average client, my ideal client, cannot escape from me. Like, no matter where they go, I'm there. And like you said, they get warmed up, they have more touch points, and eventually they buy.
One of my mentors said that millionaires build systems, billionaires build people that build the systems.
Sick.
What do you think about that? As you've been growing your business and hiring A players, how do you kind of think about that?
100% actually. Like, I used to be the guy that would build the system and use the system. Then I used to be the guy who built the systems and have my staff use them. And now, since I would say like the last 12 months, exactly like you said, I was like, I'm not even going to build the system myself. I'm just going to tell someone, hey, this is what we need. Go build the system. Make sure it looks like this. Send it over to me. I'll have a look once it's done. I'll let you know if it's any good. And now, right now, for example, I have my AI team build AI systems. I just told them what I want and they're doing it. I have my sales manager build internal training. I'm like, hey, we need to train the staff more on XYZ. I have my VAs build, smaller things like that. And I have the head of my coaching team build coaching systems. I love the fact that you just said that, because it just comes at the exact right time for me, where I realize that myself. It's like, just get good people that build the systems for you. And the funny thing is, you probably know this better than anyone else. Um, you'll slowly but steadily just like get to work, and you're like, I don't have anything to do. Collectively, we're doing all these things as a company, but me personally, like with the hands on the keyboard, I don't do as much anymore. It becomes more and more just iPhone, WhatsApp messages kind of job, where you're just like, hey, you could do this, or hey, can you update me on that? It's just like, you're kind of like just the captain that has a dashboard with all the different fleet ships that he's responsible for, and he's just like, okay, they're all doing their thing. So it becomes less time intensive. It becomes more decision intensive, because the decisions you're making are a higher level, and there's more pressure behind that, and certainly more things at stake, but it becomes less grind, actual work intensive, so to speak.
I love that one of your offers is sales, because I remember way back when reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, with that whole storyline with Robert Kawasaki, and his, dad was a well-to-do professor, and but it was still kind of always capped at his income. And then talking about, his rich dad, who was a major entrepreneur, and like invited him to say, hey, go learn sales, right? And that helped him become that entrepreneur where he sees the value of money that continued goes through. And then as you're learning it, then you're kind of building these other skills that you also need to build a business and build an empire. Um, I've categorized this. I want to get your take on some of this. Is I feel like there's four areas of skills that business owners need to have. One is you need to know how to market yourself. The other one is you know how to sell your service or product. Then the other one is know how to do the fulfillment at top level. And then you got to build, have leadership in understanding automations and systems, leveraging AI. And those are kind of like the four areas that I've seen, like business skills that you need. And at the very beginning, you talked about soft skills and hard skills, and the high performance edge in a way. But talk about some of those things that you've had to learn that helped you build the empire that you've had now.
Hmm. I had to learn everything, man. Like every single position that I now have covered through systems, AI agents, or humans, I've done myself. From like the VA that replies to support emails, to the visuals guy that makes cuts on videos, to the setter, to the closer, to the manager that now trains and manages the closers, to the HR person that hires people. I've done all of those myself at some point. I think now I'm slowly getting to a level where I hire people for stuff that I haven't dealt with myself yet. For example, the AI developers, like I've done some AI development myself, but like they're operating obviously at a much higher level than I was ever at myself. And that's cool. Like I like that, because I always understand rudimentary entirely what they're doing. I also understand a rough time frame over how long it takes for certain things to be implemented. So when I say, hey, make an internal training for our new sales staff, I know roughly how much time that's going to take. So if someone says it will take me a month, I'm like, don't fool me. I know you can do this in a week, and then they get it done in a week.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I've done all of those myself, and I think it's cool. I know some business owners who like from the beginning on, they're like, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to hire people. The thing with that is you expose yourself to a lot of risk, because, like you said, like you don't know how much work that is. If you get to the wrong person, they might overcharge you. They might even just flat out scam you. So you want to be careful with that as well. Sure, you can do things very fast like that, but it's a little risky. So I prefer kind of being in every single position myself and kind of understanding what needs to be done. And then as soon as I can, just freaking delegate it.
Yeah. I love it, dude. Max, we could talk all day long, business and strategies. Like I could do this for a long time, but how can people follow you and connect with you further, man? I'll put all those links in the description as well.
Yeah. And by the way, I love your questions just so much. Like every single question is so good. It makes me so excited. That's why I have to ramble so much. So my apologies. I'll
Good,
give you a
man.
find
Love it.
me Instagram. Max underscore Torno is my personal account. I have a second account. It's my content account with 200 something thousand followers. That's Max underscore Torno underscore business. On there is actually my chat AI. So if you message me on Max Torno business, it's literally not going to be a human replying to you. It's going to be my chat AI. It's pretty cool. You can send it voice messages. You can send it selfies. It knows what's in the photo. if you actually want to chat with like me, actually personally, it's going to be Max_Tornow. And YouTube podcast, Max Tarno, type it into YouTube, Max Tarno podcast, type it into YouTube, LinkedIn, same spiel.
Awesome, man. I'll put those links down below. Guys, go check out Max, go connect with him further. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and then don't forget that free gift down in the show notes, and we will see you on the next episode.